You voted for interpreting visions and dreams. That's right. If you'd like to participate in the vote, tell me how we can do that on YouTube or check out the description. You'll see my Facebook group there, and that's where I post the poll every week. So we talk about whatever excites you. And you chose interpreting visions and dreams, which is exciting for me because this is definitely one of my favorite topics, especially with medicine work. It's really important to interpret what the experience means. Even if it feels like a really positive experience, it's really important to understand what it means and how you can apply it in your life. And sometimes understanding is not enough. We must also have the wisdom to convert that into an actual life change or into new wisdom, right? So it's useful to speak with someone who understands this part of the process, like myself, for example. So I love, love, love this. I also teach classes on dream interpretation. So we're going to do like a little mini version here. If you have a question, I can see your questions. Feel free to ask me them. If you're watching this on replay, type your question in the comments. I always go back around and answer them. And leave me a comment. Have you ever had a weird vision or a weird dream, didn't know what it meant? Or maybe you did know what it meant, but you weren't sure how to make that useful for yourself. Or maybe you turned to Google to ask yourself what that means, to ask the internet. So this is one of the 4 ways, which I'll cover that in a class. That's not for this space. One of the 4 ways that dreams can be interpreted is social derivation. So that means going to Google or turning to your community or family to ask, what do you think it means? Can you tell me your interpretation, right? So the most important thing, because dreams and visions are, let's hop in, very similar. They come from a lot of the similar space, that internal subconscious space where we make the pictures that play out in our mind. But this often has a different texture, right? And a different intention. So they often come up in a different way and generally should be addressed in a little bit different form. So depending on how your vision is coming in, whether it's through a meditation or through a sacred medicine experience or spontaneously, or you're having a dream that is au naturel, your own subconscious mind, there are many different ways to look at that. So I work also with sacred medicine space. So when you're talking about experiences like ayahuasca or magic mushrooms or other such visionary experiences, the medicine itself is going to bring in a certain type of tone and information also. One of the books I'm writing right now is actually all about ayahuasca visions and how these different themes show up on repetition and how you can make that useful. But especially with dreams, but also with visions, the most important part of it actually isn't the visual content, because sometimes this isn't what you think it is. Um, Usually the most important part of the content is the emotion that you're experiencing, right? So dreams and visions come in categories. You might be receiving a message that can come from your own inner wisdom, the quantum field, the force, a deceased ancestor, a relative or friend, an angel, a guardian angel, spirit, source itself, whatever it is that you're into, aliens, whatever you like, light beings that can come in and bring information, ascended masters, this kind of uh, seemingly external resource can come in and leave a message. But generally speaking, what's going to be coming through, oh, hello, Faith and Zach. What'll be coming through is your own inner wisdom, right? So dreams and visions contain wish fulfillment, right? You had a dream of that thing you always wanted to do. It can also be processing subconscious material, right? Which would be like, for example, if you start a healing experience, a lot of times the dreams will amplify and the visions will amplify. So that way, that's definitely a space where you can just bear witness to what your mind is processing for you. And a lot of times these dreams are very strange and they come with a lot of intense emotions. Sometimes it isn't because you've initiated some healing process. It's because, who are you talking about? Well, not a person in particular, someone who is interested in learning how to interpret your dreams and visions. Oh, thank you, Faith. um, so you may have this like processing that's happening that has been initiated by an intentional learning or healing experience. Maybe a lot of times someone comes in for an energy healing and then they end up having a bunch of weird dreams or suddenly having visions. This is awesome. It just means the healing process is continuing. You can also have a processing that happens or healing information that happens just because your body is ready to release that emotion. Your mind is ready to learn some life lesson. And so to make space for this new lesson, the integration process requires a vacancy, right? Which means you have to make space by ejecting some old idea that is no longer congruent with where you're moving in your own personal development. So a lot of times dreams and visions will reflect that information for us. And this is a wonderful space to just bear witness. Don't do anything about it, right? Just look at it, be grateful for it, and let it happen. And you'll generally know what these are because they're generally very weird. They generally reflect some like theme in your life. Sometimes it's extremely obvious. I had someone come to me with a dream one time, a client, and she told me she was standing on a beach and she saw a whole line of all her ex-boyfriends. And she had to, and a beach for her was a happy place, but there's all these ex-boyfriends there, which isn't necessarily very happy. Obviously, they're exes for a reason. And she said that she saw all the ex-boyfriends, and all the ex-boyfriends were telling her something, and they were all talking at the same time, right? And so she couldn't really understand what they were saying, and she had to tell them to be quiet so she could get a message from each one of them. So this is her mind making space for a new type of relationship by processing out old information that she had learned from these previous relationships. And a lot of it was information that like wasn't actually a belief system she wanted to cultivate any longer. So this boyfriend taught me that, I'm unlovable. This boyfriend taught me that I'm crazy. This boyfriend taught me that I'm not attractive. It was all messages like this. So this is her mind processing out that information. And so I asked her, I said, you are looking for love. You're dating. And she says, yeah, how'd you know? And I said, because your mind is preparing itself for a new type of relationship, which means you get to eject these old ideas in order to fill in with something new and exciting, right? So this is processing dreams can work in a lot of different types of ways, and healing dreams can work in a lot of different types of ways, which is really exciting. But they usually, you can tell because of the feeling. Now, this dream was extremely direct, like, oh, you're dealing with ex relationships. Like, that's the theme for you, and belief systems accordingly. But sometimes they're very strange and very weird. And that's one of my favorite parts about dreams and visions is they're just so weird sometimes. That's very exciting, right? Um, Sometimes we dream about processing a current scenario in our life. Our dreams will offer us inspiration for how to deal with what's happening in our current life. So, for example, I just received an interesting dream from a family member who said that even though things are a little bit chaotic in her life right now, she had this dream where she was standing on the shore and this massive tsunami was coming. Right. And everybody was running and screaming and telling her to run, but she never ran and she felt very calm and she saw this huge tsunami coming. But by the time it reached her, it was just like a gentle little like waves lapping against your feet at the seashore. It was very calm and peaceful. And she saw the water, but like it wasn't bothering her. And so I said, well, this is a beautiful dream because emotions, water often represents emotions in dreams. So this wall of emotional, intense, dangerous experience, hazard was coming at her. But in the dream showed her that no matter what comes your way, you're going to be okay, right? So that's a really wonderful dream to give her some comfort and some inspiration. And when I told her that, she said, I'm so glad you said that because, yeah, I feel like I'm going to be fine. And I said, you are. So just relax and don't stress out. She says, you're right. I'm going to go take some time for myself. So this is a really great way where you can start using dreams and visions as like a therapy modality, which I really love. But if you want to talk about different types of dreams, that could be it's a whole class that I teach, like a whole 9 weeks thing about different types of dreams and what they mean and what they can be offering you for your life. But the most important way to interpret a dream or vision is first to ask yourself, what does this mean to me? Look at the emotion attached to it, right? Because that's really the primary content. It's not the visual that's primary content. In fact, you can have dreams and visions that contain information or emotion without content, but it's not usually the other way around. You usually don't see content with no emotion, or if you do, the emotion is one of peace and it's poignant, it won't be void of emotion. The visions that we receive sometimes that are more like premonition related. This is when you see things and they happen later. Has that ever happened to you? Write me in the comments premonition if you've ever had an experience where you had a dream or a sudden knowing. And remember, a vision doesn't have to be something you see. It can just be a piece of information that comes in or a sudden like realization or just a suspicion that feels like different than just paranoia or regular suspicions. That's a great way to uh, to tap into that subconscious intuition. And yes, you can actually cause those experiences, something that I teach in my classes. Love doing this one-on-one with clients too, because we have access to all of that wisdom. And sometimes it happens spontaneously. Oh, I had this dream and then it happened. How strange. But you can actually learn to do that on repeat, which is really exciting. I make a lot of my life decisions by what's in my dreams because they're never wrong. And I can always trust them, but I know how to interpret them and understand what they're trying to say, right? Now, different types of visions are going to have different types of information. Like, for example, like ayahuasca visions, they're going to have the energy of ayahuasca and the intention of ayahuasca in them too. And these medicine dreams must definitely be interpreted, even if they seem very direct, right? You guys want an example? Right? Example. What do you say? I had a dream of an owl on my shoulder biting my neck and I couldn't get it off me, almost like sleep paralysis. Any clues? Okay, so sleep paralysis is fun, Emma. Yes, no, it's not. But it is normal, right? Sleep paralysis, catatonia happens when we're dreaming anyway. It's part of the REM process as the body becomes still. And so sometimes our mind will notice that our body feels like it can't move and we'll experience that as like something terrible. But actually, it's just normal process, right? So an owl, that is a great question. I'm really glad you asked that because this really comes to what I'm sharing, that you should ask yourself, what does this mean to me? Because an owl specifically is a symbol that I use in my classes to explain what does an owl mean to you? Exactly, Emma, you got it. To explain that different cultures have different interpretations of what an owl means. So your experience personally and your culture set is always going to override what Google has to say about it. For example, in some cultures, an owl is seen as wise, right? In some cultures, an owl is seen as an omen of death. In some cultures, an owl is seen as a stupid creature. Hoo 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 hoo. He's always asking the same question. So depending on where you are and what your personal experience is, will change what an owl means to you. So if you've been attacked by an owl in your past and you find that to be an owl is scary, then this is a symbol of danger for you. But if an owl always hoots outside of your window at night and you love the sound of it, then maybe an owl is comforting for you. So first you have to ask yourself, what does it mean to you, an owl, in the first place, right? Does it mean wisdom? Does it mean stupidity? Does it mean fear? Like, what is the first reaction to it? And how are you feeling in that moment in the dream, right? So normally, if something is biting you and you can't get it off of you, then that is usually a pretty clear indicator that something's eating you up, right? That there's something that is going on in your life and you can't seem to figure out how to like get past it, or that maybe you're feeling attacked by someone or some circumstance. And that's a good opportunity to look in your life and say, where can I regain some control here? Not being able to get the owl off that's attacking and biting you is is reflective that you're having a hard time feeling in control of the situation and you're not sure how you can react in a way that would help you move past this situation. So if when I do like dream therapy like this, we would dive a lot deeper into what does that mean for you? How does this apply to your life? What can we do now? Because I'm a transformation coach, of course. So what can we do to like make this useful for you and in the integration space, right? How can we help you help yourself move through whatever the dream is reflecting to you, that there's something in your life that you're not in control of and it's really bothering you. Sometimes when I see dreams with critters attacking, it could have been anything. It could have been a wolf, could have been a goldfish, but it was an owl. The owl is relevant, right? As a symbol, and owls are powerful symbols because they're powerful, creepy critters, right? So it's definitely worth looking out to what does an owl mean to you, and then figuring out how that applies to what's going on in your life currently. Because usually dreams like that are you dealing with some information in your current life. I hope that helps. I had 4 sleep paralysis dreams where I wake up screaming in the last month. Okay, so let's look at definitions for a little bit. So sleep paralysis, that's just the realization that you can't move, right? And normally we'll like have a conscious awareness of that, and that's why it's called sleep paralysis, because you're like paralyzed, but this normal, again, this normal part of the REM cycle. Okay, so if you're in a REM cycle, that's just you suddenly becoming aware of a natural part of the sleep process. Okay. Uh, where you wake up screaming. Emma, does your dream where you wake up screaming, does it contain dream content? Why are you saying it's sleep paralysis? Because if you are waking up when you're supposed to be in the REM cycle and your dream contains no content, you're just screaming out of nowhere and it's just pure emotion and no content, this might be night terrors. A lot of people use this word to mean nightmare, but that's not a nightmare. Nightmares come with dream content, right? Or that dream yes, nightmares have dream content. So if there's dream content, it's not a night terror, it's a nightmare. It's just terrifying nightmare, right? But night terror has no dream content. This is oftentimes a hormonal imbalance. Yeah. You're also in dieta, so that could be so because you're really messing with your body right now. You know what I mean? And you're processing a lot of energy due to the energy of other people in dieta. True, but remember, honey, it is not for you to pick up or channel other people's problems. If you're going to be working in the space, if you're going to be working as a healer and a leader, you have to understand how to be in command of your own energy and not be processing other people's energy through you. So remember, especially since you're on dieta, fill yourself up with the light and love of your current dieta and of your plants, and listen to them, right? And stop trying to process the energy of other people. I know you're not trying to do it, it just happens, but you have to learn to stop doing that because that's a natural thing for an empath to do, but it's not constructive in the healing space. You cannot channel other people's energy through you and have that be part of your practice because it'll make you sick. You're channeling sickness, right? Especially people are coming to you for healing. You have to be able to move that energy without absorbing it, right? And that's a lot if you're waking up screaming, right? Mexican descent from Texas and American Indian from dad's side. Okay, so the likelihood is that you grew up with an owl as a very positive symbol of wisdom, of a lot of, look, American Indians have many cultures. There's not one Amerindian culture, there's not one First Nation. So a lot of them have their own religion and cultural perspectives. So most likely, though, a lot of the First Nations communities saw the owl as a symbol of spirit and wisdom, right, from the beyond. So, and Texas Mexicans also view the owl often, although again, there are many cultures that are native to Mexico, as a symbol of power, and because they are a predator, right? They are a raptor, as a symbol of power and also a very spiritual omen, often heralding death. So it could be power and wisdom, it could be death. You may feel like you're running out of time, that or you've had a reflection of sickness somewhere recently, either in yourself or someone else. So you're like contemplating death and it's like coming after you and you can't stop it, right? So there's a possibility that dream could be more like that for you. Um, I couldn't move. I tried so hard to move in real life. Well, you were probably in the middle of a REM cycle. Yeah, and that's normal. Catatonia is normal. Um, that's part of the physiology of that part of the sleep cycle. I'm learning, but the guy that is here has heavy dark energy in the maestro, doesn't. Right. Well, if you're okay, good. Then this is a wonderful time for you to learn that, Miss Emma, because you need to learn to do that if you're going to be operating in practitionership. You cannot be absorbing other people's crap. Right? This is, for me, this is unhealthy practitionership because you will get sick from working with other people. Okay. And you don't want that. You can't serve if you can't even serve yourself, and you cannot be in service for long if you're taking on everybody's sickness, especially since you're working in a space where people are coming for deep healing. Yeah. Um, I love you, Emma, and good luck. I know that that's hard and that's heavy. I definitely went through that for a lot of years, but you got to learn to move. I know that you're really good at moving energy. You've studied energy work and you've studied this medicine work for a long time. So now, or very deeply anyway. So now it's time to apply what you've learned in a situation where it's difficult, because that's where you're going to get the most learning. Though that is not the best way to learn always, it is definitely a way to learn deeply. Also believe in paranormal. Does this affect my dreams and sleep paralysis? Absolutely. Love this question. The paranormal and your belief structure 100% influence your dreams. So, for example, if you believe that you can be visited by a deceased relative, then you can be, right? And some people will say, oh, it's just your mind coming up with something for yourself to help you comfort yourself, whatever you believe your belief structure is. For some people, they say, oh, no, when I see an ancestor, like that ancestor is here to talk to me, and I get that. In fact, there are whole practices around inviting in that event of an ancestor communicating in dreams. I love teaching. There's like some African dream rituals and also some other processes from other parts of the world that are specifically designed to initiate a dream where interdimensional beings can come through and communicate with you, right? And actually, they say because when you're dreaming, you're closer to death, because you're more sleeping is almost more dead than alive in a way, because you have less cognitive process and more access to the other side. So if you have a strong belief system, whatever that belief system is for you, that's what's going to come through. So for example, someone who's rooted very deeply in the traditions of the Celtic base, the Celtic islands, that would be, Ireland, Scotland. Their other realm is highly linked to the realm of the Fae, right? So they'll be getting characters coming through, like fairies and these other types of like earth goddesses and stuff, that'll be coming through, that represent whatever that's important in their culture. So if you're coming from, another part of the world, you'll see, like, if you are deeply into Mexican spirituality, you may see shape shifting witches and the Nahua and things like this, that may be part of your belief structure. Sometimes we dream about things that are completely outside of our belief structure. This can happen for many reasons. That's totally a topic for another talk. um, like me and my daughter spirit hunt. Very cool. My partner is Mortera, which is sort of like a medium plus plus, where she can call spirits, not just wait for them to tell her messages. And it's always badass to find out what the past know, because they have a very different perspective from us, don't they? I love that. I hope that you have fun and stay safe with that practice. Ghost head. Yeah. I try and grab my pipe in most of my dreams, but they only got worse when this guy got here. Miss Emma, good luck. Remember, the tools are helpful and useful. You are, it sounds weird in English, right? You are the biggest tool that you have. Isn't that funny? I'm like back and forth between English and Spanish right now. It's funny in English. You are the resource that you have that is the most powerful. So yes, the pipe will help you, also your own energy, right? And remember, if you are completely full of your own energy and completely focused on that, then nothing else can get in anyway. So you be the eye of the storm, right? And hey, this is a great opportunity to learn how to do that, because this happens a lot in practitionership. Because obviously when you're healing with someone, they're going to attach to you because you're there to help them, right? And so that energy that comes out is going to be directed straight at you. So you need to learn to deal with that. So I'm happy for you that you're having this experience. Good luck. Sometimes visions and dreams can actually come from other people. And this is another skill that you can learn. I love teaching this stuff, that you can actually dream with someone else. And so they can you guys can plan to have a dream and like meet somewhere in the dream time. And you will meet there in the dream time. And you can go and in the morning write your dreams and then report to one another if you like had a dream together, and like what you shared with each other, to see if you guys both have the same experience of the dream. And this is awesome. I love this type of work. That's very beautiful. And the dream time spans time and space, and interweaves in between all of it. So you can meet in a dream with a deceased ancestor, an ascended master, an alien, whatever you're into, and also a living friend, right, that you can connect with and you have a strong bond with. So this is wonderful. And like what you're saying, Emma, you can also have dreams related to other energy you're picking up. But this is very much like what we were talking about with processing dreams, right? So you're processing information that was coming up for you at the time. So again, the most important question you can ask yourself is, what does this mean to me, right? You got that, Miss Emma. So if you are thinking like, okay, what this means for me is I'm processing out the energy of someone else, what's the integration? The integration is, oh, I realize I'm picking up somebody else's energy and I need to figure out how to not allow that to happen. I need to figure out something else I can do so I can stop picking up other people's energy. And this would be very helpful for you in many places in your life, not just in your work. Yeah. Let's see. I'm subscribing. Thank you. Oh, hey, I appreciate that. Thanks. We talk about all kinds of topics here: spirituality, shamanism. You'll probably like it since you like the spirit thing. You like the ghosts. I'm learning. It's annoying. I can feel it. Dark ass crow next to my. Yeah, well, crows are all about mirrors, right? It's all about spiritual wisdom and sacred law. So crow there's bring a message. Yeah. And the message is oftentimes a heavy one. Hi, Chrissy. I dreamed I was nearly deaf in one ear last night. Can't recall which ear. Got it. That is fun. So that can be one because you were like laying on your side and there was some noise going on and you couldn't hear it in one ear. So in the dream, it's called dream illusion, right? You were reflecting. Actually, I think we've talked about dream illusion recently. Very cool. Where you've had an experience. Everyone's had this experience. Let me know if you've had this experience. If, for example, your alarm goes off, but in your dream, it's like a fire truck siren or something else, and it sounds weird, but then you realize, wait a minute, that's my alarm, and you wake up. That's called dream illusion. It happens in many ways. Like if we're cold, we'll dream about being in a cold place, or if we're wrapped up too tightly in our blankets, we get hot, or Very interesting how this works. Sometimes sleep paralysis happens that way. We get paralyzed in a dream because we've acknowledged that we're in that catatonia phase, right? Um, so if you've, um, so that can also be possible, but also to hear if you're having a dream that you're going deaf in one ear, it's your mind telling you either you're not listening to something or that maybe you shouldn't listen to something, right? You shouldn't listen to something. So something you may have been told, or something that you hear is going on. Maybe this is for you to realize that you don't need to pay attention to that. It's not really for you, right? It's not really for you, or it's just something you need to absorb. Or maybe it is that you're not listening to something that you need to hear and you don't want to be open to it. So this could go either way depending on a series of circumstances. That's for you to decide. What does this mean to me, right? Let's see. He's trying to steal my energy. Well, cover yourself, girl. You know how to do that. You do, right? Chrissy, someone I know had a dream about her cousin. Is the intentions getting it on? There's disease in the dream. Wow, that's interesting. Okay, so actually sexual content is really common in dreams, and actually it's common to have a physical sexual arousal when there's actually no sexual content in the dream. It's just part of the brain that gets functioning at that time, also includes this function. So sometimes, I mean, a lot of times we have sexual content dreams, but remember, sex in a dream isn't always about sex, and the people you see in the dream aren't always about the people, and in fact they rarely are. Most times a person in a dream represents. See, this is why interpretation gets really interesting. Because most of the time, the person in the dream that you're seeing represents a concept. It's rarely a person, even if you think it's that person. Sometimes it is. So we may dream about our partners because we're having an argument with a partner. So, that then we are really dreaming about that person. Or when we're having a dream with someone, or we're having a message come in. That may be that person, but usually, most of the time, when we dream about a person, it's actually representing a concept for us. So a cousin usually represents family, but you'd have to know more about that relationship. So what are the first three words that come to mind when you think of this cousin? And that'll tell you what's going on. So it was, so that maybe something that is intended to do may be not good for you, right? So if you want to do something, but there's a hesitation because, wait a minute, there's a disease there. There's something not right with what is wanted. So look in your life. If this person who has dreams like this will often be in the place of making decision about something they want in their life, or about maybe a change of job or something like that, or maybe a boyfriend or whatever. And but there's something not quite right with it. So this is the mind like working through that, or either giving a message, right? And this is a way that is it cool when you interpret them, the dreams, they can mean something really neat for your life, right? Out of body experience. I thought it was, yeah, it feels, I love that you said that. So this is actually part of the end of my dream course, which is astral travel or out of body experiences. So OBEs are actually super common. It is said that we may have those experiences most nights. We just don't usually recall them, and they usually cause us to feel fear. But you will never not go back into your body until you die, right? But that will be a different type of experience. And even a lot of people who are dying will find themselves that they have to go back in their body for some reason. They'll either be told or they'll feel a calling to like return to their body anyway and like resuscitate. And this is part of a lot of near-death experience stories is actually a death happened, but the soul needed to return to the body for some reason. So you will always return. Don't be afraid. Enjoy this experience. And if you want to learn more about astral travel, I'm totally there for it. You can go anywhere you want, by the way. So have fun. Next time you have that experience, ask yourself, where would I like to go? And have fun. Have a good time. It does feel and think weird, right? Because it's not something we would think of as like normal, but actually it's totally normal. Yes, we were chatting about that. Sirens, etc. Yes, that's right. We were. Dream illusion. Let's see. I'm working on it. I know you are, sweet Emma. Little bird, you're doing great. I know the concept. Well, there you go, Miss Chrissy. You figured it out. Very cool. Congratulations. So this is a lot longer. Usually our chats are pretty short. If you like this material, go ahead and follow, subscribe, whatever is that stuff. In the descriptions, you'll see also the Facebook group. I like to build community there because we can have a conversation, during the week in between our Tuesday lives. And also that's where the poll goes to vote. So if you want to vote, go ahead and put it in there. And if you don't like to use Facebook, then leave me a comment somewhere with a suggestion for what topic you would like next, and I can drop it in the poll for you. I love these chats, so thank you for joining with me. If there's anything you want to know about me or why we're here, what we do, then feel free to peruse around my material, and you'll also see in the description my other media. There's, of course, YouTube videos and TikTok and Facebook and websites and all the stuff, right? So if you're into that, then check it out. And I'm very much excited to see what our topic is going to be next week. It will be completely up to you. And I can't wait to find out what's exciting for you. So have a good night and I'll see you soon. Bye.